They say the body whispers before it screams. But in those final months, or final year, of an elderly person's life, those whispers aren't just quiet. They're coded, subtle, so gentle you might think it's just tiredness, or aging, or the weather. But I'm here to tell you, as someone who's walked hundreds of families through this fragile time, these signs are never just aging. They are conversations the body is trying to have with us, if we're willing to listen. It starts not with drama, but with simplicity. Something they always did without thinking now takes a moment longer. Maybe they pause on the stairs, hold the handrail tighter, or forget the weight of their favorite chair. It's not the forgetting that tells you. It's the pause afterward. That tiny glance of confusion, the delay in their response, the way their eyes search for an anchor. As a physician who's worked with geriatric patients for over 2 decades, I've seen this pattern emerge with astonishing consistency. And yet it's rarely noticed until the signs compound. There's a certain tone in the voice, a fragility in how they pick up a cup, an absence of urgency in their movement. These are your first messages, the ones we brush off until they no longer can be ignored. Let's talk about Betty. She was 89 when her daughter brought her in. A proud woman, sharp-tongued and sharper-minded. But her daughter said, "Something's off." Betty wasn't eating much, sleeping too much, forgetting appointments. She hadn't watered her garden in weeks, and that garden was her sanctuary. When I asked Betty what was going on, she smiled and said, "I guess I'm just tired." But that tiredness wasn't just fatigue, it was surrender. There is a pattern to this letting go, one that repeats like soft waves, washing away habits, routines, and roles. First comes the withdrawal from activities, then from conversations, later from meals, finally from connection itself. It's not depression, it's not sadness, it's the body retreating inward. I recall Mr. D'Souza, a retired professor. He spent his mornings reading the newspaper, cross-legged on his recliner. One morning he didn't reach for the paper. The next day he didn't notice it was missing. When his wife asked why, he simply shrugged. That shrug spoke volumes. When curiosity fades, when the external world becomes distant, the soul is often looking inward. Another sign, so subtle and yet so striking, is the change in voice. I don't mean what they say, I mean how they say it. The tempo slows, the pitch softens. Words get dropped mid-sentence. Sometimes they stop halfway through a thought, look away and say, "Never mind." That's not confusion, that's retreat. You'll notice their sleep pattern shifting. But it's not the usual aging sleep, it's different. They sleep longer, deeper, often without restlessness. Waking becomes slower. Conversations become delayed. They might stare at nothing for long stretches, not because they're bored, but because they're journeying somewhere only they can see. One of the most consistent signals is a reduction in food intake. And I cannot stress this enough. It is not always about appetite. The body, when preparing to shut down slowly, stops demanding energy. Digestion is an effort. Hunger fades. What used to be their favorite dish becomes a burden. You might find half-eaten meals, untouched desserts, or drinks left warm. When the body's ready, it stops asking to be fueled. And then comes the paperwork. Not just literal paperwork, but life's unfinished business. Some will start giving things away. Jewelry, books, even old clothes. They'll tell you who should get what. Sometimes they'll bring up people they haven't mentioned in decades. Forgiveness rises. Old conflicts fade. Closure becomes a need. They're organizing, not just drawers and letters, but their emotional estate. I remember Ellen, 91, who called her a strange sister after 30 years. They spoke for 20 minutes, both crying. When she hung up, Ellen looked at me and said, "Now I can rest." She passed away 3 months later, peacefully. These moments aren't coincidences. They're preparation. Another sign? Change in movement. Walking becomes slower. They hesitate at thresholds. Getting up from bed takes longer. They're not just tired, they're navigating their body differently, like their mind is rehearsing separation. I often see them pause mid-step, stare at the floor as if measuring not the distance, but the effort. These small hesitations are powerful truths. You might also notice sensory detachment. They don't react to noise like they used to. Their favorite music feels too loud. They blink less at bright lights. Some stop recognizing familiar scents. The world outside is dimming in their perception because the world within is becoming brighter. Let's talk about language. Pay attention to their words. They begin using phrases like, "I won't be here forever," or "when I'm gone," or "you'll know what to do." It's not drama. It's not manipulation. It's intuition. They feel what we can't. They know what we fear to admit. And then, the gift of clarity. This part is often surprising. Nearing the final months, many experience a day, or even a few hours, of sudden clarity. Energy returns. They speak with lucidity, eat with appetite, laugh. Remember, it feels like a miracle. Families call it a recovery, but it's not. It's the final rally, the last spark before the candle fades. Don't misunderstand. It's not meant to deceive. It's a beautiful offering. The soul briefly returning to say goodbye properly, to give you a memory to hold on to, a last chapter worth remembering. Finally, there's the silence, the real one. It's not that they stop speaking, it's that they no longer feel the need to. Conversations are shorter. Their presence is softer. It feels like you're sitting beside someone watching waves, not needing words. This isn't meant to make you sad. It's meant to open your heart. Because when you start recognizing these signs, you don't panic. You become present. You don't rush. You sit. You don't distract. You listen. In the final year of life, the body does not shut down, it simplifies. The soul does not disappear, it transitions. The person you love is not leaving all at once. They're offering themselves in soft, tender exits. So if your loved one starts showing these signs, don't fear, don't resist. Walk beside them, hold their hand, share the silence. Because in that quiet, they are telling you everything you need to know. You don't have to be a doctor to understand it. You just have to care enough to see it. And when you do, every moment becomes sacred, every breath a blessing, every goodbye a beginning. This journey is not the end, it's a return.